prepare to record. And Dave, you're up.
Thank you, Sean. Greetings to those that are joining us and to those in the room here. Welcome to the webinar. I think we're all very excited to have an opportunity to showcase one of our new developments for mobile technologies. This really, as Sean mentioned, does represent a first step into the mobile app field by the Soil Science Division for data collection. So a little bit on how this all got started. Our initial vision was that we knew mobile devices were going to do nothing but increase in use in our agency and by other sectors of the private public. We knew we wanted to address also the soils and ecological technology needs that we're looking at in our division and those of the agency. So what we really wanted to do was put out a pilot testing environment and see how it works in the field. We need to see how it works under dusty conditions on mobile devices, how it works for visibility conditions out in bright sunlight. We need to look also at how our portable devices can fit into protective tools like otter cases or other types of protection. Some of the driving forces that we had behind this is that we know that even though some of our mission has changed a little bit, we still are a field-based organization, field-based discipline, and field data collection is still extremely important to our business. Several of the things that we do in the field already, we do data entry, we do GPS locations, we use digital cameras. Those are three features that are kind of rolled into one in things like iPads, iPhones, Android devices, and we needed to be able to take advantage of some of that. Well, some of our initial investigations included looking at companies that would design an app for us, and they would build singular apps pretty well to some of our specifications. But then if we wanted another app, they said, well, we'll build that one for you too. And it would just be this continual process of having to go back to various sources to build apps. But we also know that we are continually enhancing and improving those things that we use out in the field. So we wanted to find a way that we could control the means of production or the means of design. But what started first with a discussion with Verizon Design Solutions, we were talking with them about what our business needs were in the agency. And they said, well, maybe we could put you in touch with one of our companies that we work with that does something like that. That led us to Groveware Technologies. And they had a mobile app. They also had web-based software that would allow us to modify or create as we wanted to those types of forms that we're very used to out in the field. So I wanted to do, before I go a lot further, we're going to have more technical presentations here in a little bit, but I wanted to just give a very brief look at what the MobiTask app actually is. So this is a picture of what it appears like on a mobile device. It's a free app that works on any platform. We utilize a e-forms capability out of software called Xforma, which is just a design software that works behind the scenes to create these forms. So we're not having to learn a whole lot of new code, but we could concentrate on the design of forms the way we want them. This is MobiPed. This is our clever name for this particular app. It's a multi-screen pet-on description form. And we kind of knew that if this software could handle something as complex as a pet-on form, that we could use it for about anything. This is a Moby site, another clever name that we came up with, which is a simple site information form to collect some notes, take a picture, get some coordinates of something that you find interesting out in the field, a road cut, a particular vegetation stand, geology outcropping, something. We'll have more on these features a little bit later, and also on the import of that PEDON data into NRCS. What I want to also give an overview on, before we went a whole lot further, was how getting this app actually, getting the app and making it work actually happens. So the first step in the process is to contact Groveware Technologies on the different licensing options that are out there. They also have a website that I'm showing on the screen here that's specifically for the NRCS, describing what services they have and a little bit on the ordering. They also have a LinkedIn, for those of you that are LinkedIn fans, a group account under USDA, MobiPed project. The next step is to go through GSA to purchase a license and then go through the IT acquisition process. And MobiTask is under the GSA schedule through GSA Advantage. This is also what's considered through ITS a Type 3 purchase. So it can be purchased by a state directly without fund transfer to TSD. However, that request for approval still needs to be filtered through the TSD process. So your purchasing folks will know how this works from other computer processes or software processes that you've made in the States. So it's not software owned or purchased by TSD, but we still have to go through that process. The next step is to actually download the app, and it's available through both the iTunes Store for an iPhone app or the iPad version. It's also available through the Android, what's Android called? Android Store, I think. There's also an additional step, if needed, would be to contact Verizon about short-term loaner agreements. We're going to have a presentation here in a little bit from Verizon on how that process will work. And then the next step is to start collecting data. So a little bit on future developments. This is really our first attempt at mobile device applications. I think it was well worth our time here at the center to investigate and see what it would take to develop them. And now it's up to you folks as our field customers to test them out and see how they best fit into your field data collection. If more e-forms are needed, we only have the two right now, the PEDON and the site form, we can evaluate the best ways to get them produced for you. Support for the forms themselves will come from Groveware. We're looking into ways to do things like local customization of pick lists for just one future type development. Support for the import of the data into NRCS will come from the National Soil Survey Center, and we'll talk about that here coming right up. So that's just a quick overview that I wanted to give y'all about what the product is, why we got to this stage, and how to get that. And now we're going to go into a bit of a technical part of this program to talk in more depth about the forms themselves and the transfer of data. I think our first speaker on that is going to be Henry Ferguson. Are they? Oops. Not according to the schedule.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's fairly simple. The application is used in the field. It collects the data on your local iPad or iPhone. You save it, and then you submit it. When you submit it, it ends up in a server that Groveware has access to. And eventually, Groveware is going to be importing it directly into NRCS. For the first few days until they get their authentication, they'll be sending me the files. files are going to depend on the MDB file that people are pretty familiar with, and we're going to use the Pet on import into NRCS. So those files will go into a single group in NRCS, and then I'll disseminate them out to the users that submitted the Pet-ons. All that system's been tested. A lot of you have already used that system. So it's a working, functional import from the server database into NRCS.
And that was a brief technical words there. So from there, we'll move to Groveware Technologies. Groveware.
All right, so I'm gonna. Okay, so my name's Dan. I'm from Groveware Technologies. Groveware is a software development company. We're actually based out of Toronto, Ontario. But we're a Verizon enterprise solutions partner. We've been working with Verizon and a lot of their clients to develop mobile solutions to their business problems and processes. We've been around for quite a while, largely in the automation sphere. We've built software to automate data collection electronically, first on the web, and as you'll see from this presentation, and the point of us being here, eventually we've brought that down to mobile devices. So we have an application. It's called MobiTask, and it's an extension of our web software, and it allows for data collection out in the field. And I'm going to demonstrate that app here and show you guys parts of it. In terms of what we've gone ahead and designed with Paul, Vanilla, and Dave, and George, and some of the guys there at USDA, we've automated a MobiPed, which is your SF-232 form, as well as this field observation form. So what we'll do is we'll drill into these, and we'll talk a little bit about the forms themselves. So the forms themselves are built actually on the web, and it's just an app sync procedure that basically brings this form from a server down to your device and allows you to use it. Because it is an application, it will run in an offline mode. So once you've got this app synchronized to your device, you don't need to have a network connection when you're out in the field to use it. So it will work offline and online. So you can collect your data in areas where you have zero network coverage, or in places where coverage may not be as great, and you can collect your data, and when you're ready, hop back on your network and submit it and synchronize that back to our server, which will process it, as Henry mentioned, it'll eventually make its way up into NRCS. So this is our 1.0 version of the SF-232 form. So it was designed as a general version at the highest level of some of the common fields from an SF-232. And it's got the whole range of objects here. So you've got your fields that will be required for you to submit, and it's got your text entry and your drop-downs to make things easier, your pick list. We take advantage of a lot of the features that mobile devices now offer. So we've got the ability to use the camera on the device to take a picture. So you can take a picture of some plant life here that I have in front of me, and you can use the picture, and we've got the ability to, if you want to highlight an interesting point, you can mark on the image itself. So you can draw attention to certain areas of the photo, and you can save that. It embeds that image right into your paint-on. And it's got a range of fields. Unfortunately, I'm doing this from a desktop. I don't have GPS attached, but you can do GPS and geotagging the images. So we do take advantage of, if your device offers GPS, you can use the device to get the GPS, or you can enter latitude, longitude, decimal degrees manually from an external source. And it's got the whole range of of lists from your data sets. So it's got the range of text modifiers and origins and so forth, and it populates across. So you've got, so I'll show a couple of these as we go. So here we've got a formation depth. So here's a kind, and it opens up your list of kinds. You can search the list. So if lists where there's vast amounts of data, as you start typing, it will shorten the list down so you can search and pick the one you're looking for. So the object and the idea here is to make data collection as easy as possible. So we can pick the one we want. It populates now to the next. To the next related ones, pick in this case here, the size of fractures, and then it gets to hardness, and you can pick the hardness, and it brings it back, so it links the multiple values together. And as you scroll through this form here, there's a range of just general data. Here we've got dynamic additions or repeats to the form. So here you've got a diagnostic or horizon where you're used to perhaps collecting multiple horizons. So you can add values, and if you need to add more on the fly, you can add as many as you need to add. So here you can see now I've added 3, and I can continue to add more. We've also got groups of information. So if we look at our horizon here, we can click our option here, and we pull in a horizon section here, so we can fill in all the horizon information. And go through it again. You can add multiple colors here and multiple rock fragments. So there's a whole range of objects that dynamically add as you need to, and then just scroll through the whole thing. So it's all here. I won't waste an hour here filling this out, but the fields that you're looking for, the most common ones, are all here, and they all map back to your NRCS and your paint on PC files. So very much a similar case. And again, you can add multiple horizons. There's also a few other features we've got. Like I mentioned, this works offline and online. You can do this in stages. This is a very, very large form. So if you're in the process of filling it out and you need to do some work or continue, we've got obviously the option to save your work. So you can save what you're working on, and right now it'll show up in your transfers as like a work in progress, as a draft, very similar to an email system would work, as a draft email, and you can open that up and you can continue to work on it as much as you like. So you can continue to save it. It's a great way to maintain your data as you go, and then in case you run into situations where you end up with device issues or anything like that, saving your data regularly is a good option. Once you're complete with your paint on and you're ready to finish it, you can submit it. And if you're online, it will submit directly. And if you're not online and you choose to submit it, which I'm not necessarily going to do right now anyway, but it'll move from your draft to your outbox, and then once the server acknowledges that it's received your transaction, it'll end up in your sent folder. So you'll have a list of all the objects, all the different paint-on forms you've submitted will all be tracked on your device, either in your outbox or your sent, depending on whether or not they've been synced to the server. The other form that obviously we take a look at was the simpler one is the field observation form, which is the MOBI site. A little bit simpler of a data collection interface. It's got a name, the ability to capture GPS, take a picture, and add some notes. So you can see the two variances between the forms and the amount of data that was available to collect. So the app will handle stuff from the simplest of forms to the most to the larger ones, and you've got a range of objects here. We've got some generic text entry. We'll show you how you can just literally type text into it. As you continue to type, The field expands downwards, so you can. It's not fixed. A lot of this is dynamically rendered as you go. It's designed to accommodate as much data entry as you want to throw at it. So. So that's the app from a forms perspective. I'm going to bring it back to the main menu and talk a little bit more about the app, just slightly in general. I've shown you basically the ability to fill out forms, but there's a range of other options that we can hint at. One is we have the ability to process these things in terms of workflows. So if you need to work on something across multiple people, or if it requires approval processes, or for situations where people are being sent out, we have task lists, so we can, you perhaps something found on a site is going to trigger an additional investigation. Well, there's a form for that. You can fill that out and generate a task for somebody to do. So any tasks that you have there are available. Like I said, we can do a range of different forms. And then the last one, well, there's some transfers and settings there, and the last one is your sync data. So syncing basically is we'll send anything you've completed up to the server, and it will also at the same time bring down any updates. So it's not something that you need to be constantly aware of whether or not you have the latest form available. Every time you sync, the server will make sure that the forms on your device, the data that's available is up to 100% up to date with what's available out there. So that's it for us. Like I said, we're available for questions. Dave mentioned our website. We do have a page dedicated to this project on our website. The link was available in the presentation. We also have a LinkedIn group available that also has all the information in terms of how to contact us and where to get your hands on the product information. So that's it for us.
All right, I'm going to jump in here and go back to this PowerPoint quickly. Okay. Gene, are you on? Gene Hafner, I saw your name on the attendee list. Is your phone on mute? Gene, we can't hear you.
Okay, well, this is not Gene, but I'll fill in for him. Gene, if you are on and can speak instead of me, that would be preferred. As I mentioned in the early part of my talk, we did partner with Verizon on this for finding a source for development of some of our own apps. Verizon also has made a very generous offer that they will work with our states to get loaner devices out there. So iPhones or iPads along with like a 3G connection, so that if you folks are looking to test out this capability but currently don't have, say, an iPad in your state, this might be a good source to get one at for a short term. Gene will probably be a better one to describe just how short of a term that is, but I think when we did it the first time is before we even had an iPad here at the center, we got one for a couple of months, so that was enough for us to test it out. If you are purchasing these devices yourself, there's certainly the option for doing this as we normally purchase iPhones or iPads. I don't know that we're purchasing Androids at this time. And then the information on your screen shows the process to go through for going through their demo device program. So So it's just a matter of saying, that you're looking for the mobile pet-on form subject, who you are, how you can be reached, and your ITS DAR name. And if you're not familiar with who your DAR is, you can certainly go through your local ITS folks and find that out. Gene also provided a link on here for the Verizon area of coverage that they have out there. We do recognize that there are still numerous parts of the country, although that's rapidly decreasing, that do not have coverage out there. The data collection devices don't require a constant live coverage in order to secure the information and to download that stuff. However, we can take advantage of something as soon as we come back into coverage, or we can just do disconnected data collection. So that's basically the program support that Verizon is offering, and I would urge you to take advantage of that as you may need. And that's kind of our presentation for today. We didn't want to take the full hour, even though we know we could talk for another half hour on this, but we are excited with this, and we can certainly take a look at some of our questions right now. Yes, Gene.
I have no idea why I could not speak. I called in on another one of my lines, and I obviously now can't speak. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Did you want to change what I said at all?
Actually, you did a very good job. Basically, we have representatives throughout the entire country devoted specifically to federal organizations. And what we want to do is make sure that as you guys want to test the Grow More application, if you don't have devices available to download the application on, we want to make sure that they are made available to you. The best approach to doing this is sending an email. We have two people devoted to NRCS from the national level, myself and Dale Butterworth. So what I would like to have the bill do is send a request simply to Dale Butterworth's email address with the information listed below. And what we will do is we will organize a demo for the particular site that you guys want to test it. And this can be a variety of devices. But the reason that we would like to loop in ITS DAR is to make sure that we're sending you devices that are actually approved by the agency itself. Make sure we're not sending you devices that haven't been reviewed and approved. So any way we can help you with this pilot, we're on board. We'll make available any of the devices, whether it's a smartphone or a tablet, and get those out in the field, let you do some playing with them yourselves.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank you, Dave.
So we've received several questions from the field. Let's go through those right now. The first question came from the wonderful state of Idaho, and the question was, can you attach more than one photo to a description? So I think we'll turn that one over to Dan for an answer.
Okay, so there's a couple of ways actually I can answer the question. The application will allow you to attach multiple photos. We have limited it for the purpose of this specific app. I believe based on the data requirement, Paul may be able to add some additional information in terms of why that was done, but the app can support multiple photos. In this particular instance, we did limit it just to one. If it is something that does become a requirement to add additional photos, then that needs to be accomplished.
Okay. The next question is, where does the picture go after you upload your data? Will pictures be able to go into NRCS, or is it just stored on the phone and you have to download that later? Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, well, yeah, so I'll get that one again as well. So when you take pictures, once you've completed and submitted your your PID on, those pictures will actually be emailed to you in terms of in like a PDF file. Right now, they don't get imported into NRCS. They are stored in the app on the server, and again, they're sent to you in a PDF format embedded so that you have a copy of them yourself.
This is an issue that we've been very concerned with, and it's one that I think we want to have for a future version of this. We're also looking at an agency-wide content management system that Soils is going to be helping to pilot. So the storage of photos is very important to us. It's just that, I mean, we could have waited another several months in order to put this out, or we could go with the PDF version right now. So we chose rather to go with something immediate than wait for future developments. The next question is, would any of this work on a device running Windows 7?
Yeah, actually, our app supports a very wide range of OSs. We do support iOS, Android, Windows, Windows 8, 7, XP, all the servers. We do have support for ARM as well, although we're still validating that testing. And it looks like as well we will have support for the new Blackberry OS when that gets released in January. So there is a Windows 7 version available that we can provide if you decide you want to use a Windows-based environment.
Next question, Dan, we're still going to you, is do the applications support voice-actuated entry?
That's a very device-specific capability. The app itself does support it, but I know we've seen it and used on an Android. I haven't played with it on an iOS myself personally. I'm not sure if that capability is there, but we do have voice-actuated entry where it's supported on the OS of the device.
The next question is, in testing, how did the devices perform in bright sunlight and dirty conditions? I can address this. I mean, I've had it out in bright sunlight. It seems like the contrast in the screen, since it's basically blue and black and white, seem pretty darn well. There's good contrast. I think one of our problems with bright sunlight has always been aerial photography, and since this doesn't have multiple gray tones, I think the contrast stays pretty well even in bright sunlight. Any other comments on that? Paul Fennell gives it a thumbs up.
Second part of that question.
The second part of that question is dirty. Well, of course, never being dirty myself, it's kind of an unknown. I have read on the internet about the dust capabilities or dust protection capabilities of iPhones and iPads, and they seem pretty good, and moisture included, but really couldn't say how it's going to perform out there. That's why we kind of wanted to release this pilot couple of apps and let you all tell us about that. There are protective devices for them. The names are not coming to me right now, but I remember doing a search and looking at several ones out that do provide total immersion from water protection as well as more dust control and still retain the functionality of that device. So there are ones out there for, I was looking at ones around $100.
Dave, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
This Gene, they do make what's called an outer box case. And the outer box case, many of you guys are very familiar with on some of your smartphones, really builds a nice durable case around the device itself. And then there's also reflectant displays you can get for the device themselves that cover the display and actually eliminate a lot of the reflection on the device itself too.
Thanks, Gene. The next question is, can you go over the price again on the $19 a month? Dan?
Sure. So our app is available as a demo download for free from the app stores, but the licensing to get involved for the app is priced at $19. I believe it's $19.18 a month when purchased through GSA. That includes the server-side access, your support, access to all the updates and everything like that. So there's that's all included in that figure. Was there if you've got any specific questions related to that, we'll glad to take them if you ask them again, or if you contact Grover or one of our reps here, we'll be glad to review it further.
This is per mobile device, right? Per license.
Yeah, sorry, that's per device user.
The next question is on the iPhone itself, and it says most iPhone apps drain the batteries when you are in the field all day and away from a car charger. Can we get iPhone solar chargers now? I know we've seen those. We tried to purchase one last year and didn't quite get that done. Gene, what can you tell us about longer life or solar chargers?
Dave, I'll be honest with you, I've not had the solar charger question posed to me before. What you can get is you can get little external battery sources that actually plug into the bottom of the device. So it's actually like a secondary battery that you can make available. And the nice thing about some of those devices is they actually charge the internal battery as well while it's plugged in. So keep in mind, this particular device will not be continuously transmitting data while you're doing your data acquisition. So that should prevent a lot of the battery drain. But there are battery sources that can be made available. Specifically solar, I am not aware of, but I will take that as a takeaway.
I know the particular person that asked that question, we tried to get one for that employee and didn't, though, a year ago. But we did have somebody in the room here also confirm that the plug-in battery is a good option. And how much did it cost? About 18 or 20 bucks, so not a bad one to take a look at. The next question is, again, on where will the pictures be stored and when will they be available in NRCS? I think we answered that one, that the pictures are currently stored in a PDF file and sent, and I mean, if you want to take individual files and store them yourself into NRCS, that's a possibility, but maybe in the future. We don't have that now.
I'll add on top of that, Dave, those images are all stored individually as JPEGs as well on our server inside our own system. So we do store copies of all those images in the event that we need to regenerate them into a PDF format or something. And we do have raw JPEGs available eventually when we work with you guys to get those imported into NRCS in the future.
Okay, thank you. Next question would be for Gene about the loaner thing. It's a question, how long can we keep the loaner device?
Well, we're going to support the project. Normally our loaner programs are in the range of 2 weeks, Dave, but we can accommodate the need based off of how long it actually needs to be tested. So normally 2 weeks is our turnaround on demo devices, but as you've experienced, because I've sent you demo devices, they've went substantially longer than that. We want to make sure you have an opportunity to test the solution on a device if that is necessary.
Okay. The next question is that it was stated that the app was free, but it looks like it costs $19 a month. And yeah, I may have given a wrong impression there. Yes, downloading the app doesn't cost anything like when you go to an app store and pay your 99 cents or $1.99 or something for that. but the service through Groveware is, that licensing is the cost here. We could have invested a lot of money in buying server software ourselves and getting a dedicated server to do all this. For the cost of doing all of that, we could also put out this the demo application period and let you all do that individually as states rather than do some massive purchase of software and support through our agency. So this was a more economical approach at this time. The following question in that same email or question was, can the public get the app too? Yes, there's no restriction there. We just have to make sure that if it's a partner that we have in Soil Survey, that we make sure they just get the same access to the e-forms like everybody else does.
And then to address that one bit further, if it's security that you're after, without the licensing, you don't get, there is no access to that, to Moby paid on forms. It's just by getting the app doesn't necessarily involve having those forms available to you. Obviously, we need to set up an account and provide the credentials and that authorization. So if it's a concern that just the general public is going to be entering bogus paid-on information, rest assured that's not the case.
Next question, Henry. How well does it work for the data transfer to PET on PC and NASS?
Yeah, that transfer actually is done by the company or here at the center until the company has their account. So the user never really sees that at all. You're just going to you're going to take the information in the field, submit it, and then a few hours later or the next day, you're going to go into NASS and the data will be there.
And what are we looking at in the future for that process?
We'd like to streamline that process. But in the meantime, we use the pound import, but just like we put that on the server. But the user won't feel that themselves. So we'll get that separate.
Next question is, will the photos get a geotag?
Yes, all the photos you take are geotagged, provided that the device you're taking the photo with supports GPS capabilities.
Next question is on the Moby Site app. Where does the information go in NASS that is collected in the Moby Site app? And that is not a app that is destined for direct NASS import. And if you want to get that information and then transfer it into NASS, that's fine. But this was designed as a very simple app to maybe communicate back to other members of the project or to a project leader. Here's something cool that I found, and document the location where it's at along with a picture. The next question is, does the free demo have full functionality from data acquisition to upload to NASS?
No, it does not. We can provide a view of the form, but that the upload to the data to NASS is still part of the licensing agreement. That's not available in the free demo.
Next question, can the data from the site observation form be downloaded to a spreadsheet or imported into an ArcGIS attribute table? One of the options for downloading it is to an Excel format, or for the text fields. The photos are downloaded into the PDF file, which is emailed to the user. But the data itself can be, the type data can be exported in Excel or CSV format too. Next question is, has any work been done towards ecological site inventory form? You know, we kind of anticipated this, that as more people start to use this and think about it, that the demand for other forms is going to grow. So right now we have not designed any other forms through this. Certainly we'll have that capability. We want you to help tell us what the needs are out there. Next question, is the fee of $19.18 a one-time fee, or is it a per month? It's a good question. That is a per month fee, and that is based on a 36-month agreement. However, they do offer both 24-month and 12-month agreements, but at slightly higher monthly rates. Dan, you want to add anything to that?
No, that's fine. And we can talk individually about pricing with each state as they go through. I don't want to break down everything here on the call in terms of all the different structures that are available, but that is a per month price.
Okay. The next question is, can it be used without the license if server upload is required in the near term? Let's just deal with that one.
Okay, so okay, how does this? You can download the app from the marketplace right now without any licensing. There's a demo version of our product in itself that does not have the USDA MobiPed form available there. That's on a separate server dedicated to USDA. That's I guess we could look at the Dave providing some kind of access to that temporarily, but that's something we need to work out separately.
The same person had a question, are there export options to local computers? For instance, location data to a text file for import into a GIS. Yeah, I think I just talked about that, either comma separated values or Excel format, and or it can go into, the PET-on data at least can go into PET-on PC format also, which does have those data fields in it.
And again, your Mobi site also, both of them actually support an XML format as well.
XML also. Thank you, Dan.
So the user could export themselves into PET-on PC?
The user could export all the PET-on data into XML, CSV, or Excel.
Yes. If they can't get it, can they get it into PET-on PC? There's no export.
They cannot. The procedure for submitting the data to PET on PC is automated and handled by the server itself. The user does not have a direct way of inputting the data into PET on PC, unless they want to re-enter it themselves. But that's
And that's kind of the whole purpose behind this, is that we don't want to re-enter anything. We're having demonstrated a pencil and a piece of paper in here, and that's where we want to get away from. That is the end of our questions. Nope, we just had one pop in here. It says, I thought PET on PC was not going to be supported any longer. Technical folks? It is being supported right now. And one more quick, is the Blackberry device supported right now?
the current Blackberry is not supported right now. The new Blackberry OS will be, but the current AB6, the QNX platform is not fully QNX, which is the basis for BlackBerry 10 EOS, is supported, but the current BlackBerry, like your Bold and that kind of thing right now, does not have support for this app.
That is now the end of the questions. So there's excellent questions there. Thank you all for taking the time to submit those. I hope that we answered those. If you didn't feel you got a complete answer or you want to discuss more, please write to me, and I'll triage them out to other members of the team that's been working on this.
Also feel free to post on that LinkedIn group. Grover will answer questions there as well.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank our presenters today at Grover Technologies, Dan Alexander and Gene Kastner at Verizon Wireless, and the folks here at the National Soil Survey Center. The presentation will be recorded and posted online, and that concludes our presentation. Thanks.
Alex. Oh, I wrote down Alexander.
Any questions from folks in here? Didn't want to exclude y'all. Well, Paul wanted to, but